Don't get too used to this dressed up look. Believe me, it's temporary. We're gonna be back to shorts and tank tops before you know it. So enjoy it while it lasts. We've been talking a lot about delinquencies on all forms of loans have been on the rise over the past couple of years, and it's showing no signs of slowing down right now. And the big one is car loans, guys. And it's really student loans as well, but we're gonna focus on car loans in this video because there have been a whopping 7.5 million car repossessions on the books this year for 2025. Think about that number for a minute. And a vehicle repossession occurs when a lender or a financing company takes back a vehicle from a borrower who has defaulted on a loan or a lease. And historically, repossessions have been a key economic indicator of consumer distress and credit market stress. And so we've seen a massive uptick in these repossessions because there are over 100 million outstanding auto loans in the US right now. And when you combine that with higher vehicle prices and higher interest rates, it's basically a recipe for disaster. And it's not a surprise at all that we're seeing these higher repossessions when you combine that with a bad economy, a horrible job market, and inflation ripping through everyone's wallet. In 2022, back when things were good, okay, because yeah, inflation was high in 2022, but it was just starting to go up and a lot of things hadn't been affected too much by inflation at that point. But by then, there were already 1.2 million vehicles repossessed in 2022. 2024, we saw about 1.73 million vehicles repossessed, which was the highest amount since 2009. But that is absolutely nothing and a drop in the bucket compared to 2025, because according to the Recovery Database Network, they are reporting over 7.5 million repossession assignments so far in 2025, guys. And they project by the end of the year, it could exceed 10.5 million. So we might see almost 11 million cars repossessed this year. Think about how mind-blowing that number is. But it is important to distinguish between assignments and actual completed repossession, because an assignment of a repossession does not guarantee that the vehicle is going to be repossessed, because the person could still get out of it and catch up on payments and save it from being repoed. But it's just showing that that's how many are on the books. That's how many people are late and then at risk of a repossession in 2025. I mean, that is just unbelievable right now. It's much higher than you would ever imagine it to be. If you think these last couple of years look bad, it was nothing compared to now. And by the way, today I'm walking down Center Street in San Rafael, California. Now, there are several factors that have been contributing to these higher amount of repossessions. Number one is vehicle prices have risen substantially over the past few years, which also increases the size of the loans. And then the second reason that compounds that problem is higher interest rates, because along with the higher prices came higher interest rates, which is something we didn't see during the 2008 housing market crash and the GFC, because back then they were dropping interest rates to zero and inflation wasn't a big problem. So fast forward to today, we have all the same problems we had back then times 10 due to inflation and interest rates. And so when you combine these higher prices and bigger loans with higher interest rates, it means auto payments have exploded and people haven't been able to keep up with them. That's the truth. And really, there's a third reason that is a little bit hidden, but has been coming out as there's been so many delinquencies, and that is the amount of subprime borrowers who aren't paying. And subprime borrowers probably shouldn't have gotten the loan to begin with, but somebody decided to take a chance on them and give them the loan, and lo and behold, they're not paying. So if this situation doesn't scream stress in this economy, I don't know what does, guys. 11 million cars potentially being repossessed by the end of this year. Is it actually going to be 11 million? Probably not. I'm sure a percentage of those people are going to turn things around and find a way to catch up on their payments and save the car from being repoed. After all, it's most people's lifeline. People needed to go pick up their kids. People needed to go get to work. Without a car, they essentially won't be able to function in their life and in society. So a lot of people are going to do whatever it takes to make sure it doesn't happen. But the fact that so many people are on the chopping block for it to happen is pretty scary right now. And this has a multitude of implications on the economy as well. Like, first off, for lenders and people who have made these loans, the increased repossessions means that these lenders are going to face higher losses. And the fact that vehicles depreciate a lot faster than a lot of other assets, these lenders are going to be losing money on these repossessions. Like, say you owe them 30 grand, they have to spend $2,000 repossessing the car. Now they're in that vehicle for 32, but they can only sell it for 20 grand at auction. Well, the lender just lost $12,000 on that repossession. So it's not really in their best interest to do this. It's not like they want to repossess your car. It's just their only shot at saving themselves and be able to reclaim some of the money that they're going to lose on it rather than nothing. But this can actually be good news for people that have not been able to afford a car lately, because the prices for both used and new cars have been much higher than in the past. And with a surge of repossessions, this can cause a situation where inventory for used vehicles can absolutely explode and cause the price of used vehicles to come down substantially. With a huge supply glut like that, dealers are just going to want to offload these vehicles as fast as possible, and that means lower prices. Now, even though they estimate that there could be 10.5 million repossessions by the end of the year, they think that the real number is only going to be around 3 million, which is only, a third of what they're projecting. And that means 70% of people might be able to save themselves from being repossessed. But still, guys, 3 million people being repossessed versus just 1.7 last year, it's still about double. And the story I'm referencing here says that this is the highest level that we will see since 2009, but it doesn't say what the actual number was in 2009. So I would be curious to know that. I didn't look that up ahead of time. So if you want to check that out, feel free to look into it. But either way, it's just another thing that points to the fact that this is the worst economy that we have seen since 2008. There's no questioning that. There are so many different data points that are pointing to this that you can no longer deny it.